So finally, this isn't actually in the release notes here, so but we want to give this information out to those of us that are joining these calls. So what we've actually noticed, and it's hard for us to identify exactly when this issue came into play. We believe it came in with last month's release. What we actually noticed is we noticed an issue with the HSP view dimension. So what this dimension is, not all of us are going to have this, but essentially this dimension is used whenever sandboxing is enabled in your application. So again, what sandboxing is, it's just the ability to kind of on the fly create ad hoc or what if scenarios within your application without replicating all the data in that scenario. So it uses this HSP view dimension to kind of dynamically calculate data between a newly created sandbox dimension, which any users can create, and that base dimension that the sandbox, or I'm sorry, that base scenario that what if capability would be created off of. And essentially what we saw as an issue of part of this is what it had done is it had moved that dimension within the application outline order. So we had noticed that it always put it third in your outline list, which some of us, it may have always been third, you know, depending on how we had set up our hourglass shape outline, which is what we want, which is a large, dense dimension to small, and then the small, sparse dimensions to large. But it always moved it to third. So for those of us that may have, you know, disabled that hourglass shape outline that we would have looked to leverage, and so what that had done is it had potential impacts on some of our clients from a calculation runtime standpoint. So when you corrupt that outline shape, that hourglass shape, you can see your runtimes and your performance of retrievals but more specifically business rules can actually be impacted by this. And so it's a really easy fix. At the end of the day, all you really need to do is go back into that, your performance settings and move those dimensions back in the correct order and simply refresh your application. But unfortunately, this is not something that I think any of us would pay close attention to. There was nothing in the release last month that would have technically made us think to look for this. But any of us that have enabled sandboxing, I think it's important for us to go look at our models, ensure this does not happen in our environments, and make the adjustments as necessary. So again, this is not part of the release notes, but this is just something that eCapital is able to identify just based on work that we've been doing on our multiple cloud clients.